Hello, Brent. How are you today?
Alright.
Alright. What you folks are about to watch was a duel, well, duels, if you want to call them that, of Mr. Brent or Ottmonkey. How would you describe what you did?
It was a match. It was pretty well. I considered a mirror match, Fire Fist against Fire Fist deck. Mine is not the typical Fire Fist deck, so I enjoy mirror matches because they all expect one thing, and then when they see mine, they don't know what to expect, and most people seem to, after they've seen mine, want my, I guess, deck format for how I run mine.
Now, without giving too much away, what makes yours so much different than theirs?
I typically, they run what is considered a 2 to 3 axis deck. Mine is considered more of a 4 axis.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. For those of us who don't know what the hell you're talking, what is 2 axis, what's 3 axis, what makes yours a 4 axis? Does it like tilt a certain way?
No, mine goes, it's considered 4 axis because I can go for more variant of stuff. I don't have just 1 or 2 key moves to end a duel. I have 4 major moves. They give me
a win condition?
A win condition versus 1 to 2.
Alright, now I'm not going to have you give away what yours does because we'll probably watch it here in a second. What is the win condition for most typical standard Fire Fist decks?
Most Fire Fist decks run off of a 3-star 200 defense monsters for going for the Horse Prince and doing a flash of that. They are not going for the level 4s like more I stick to. I have a little bit of the level 3 but not.
So are they more about swarming the board and just punching in the face?
Yes, they do more sacrificing than I do. They sacrifice a whole lot more of their monsters and a whole lot more of their fire formations to just do a flash bang and running more for their graveyard, where I don't necessarily have to have my graveyard. It's my graveyard's there or not. It's not too key for me.
Alright, and is this a 2 or 3 axis deck you're going to be facing?
It's a 3 axis. I do believe there's a 3 axis. I don't get to see all of it, but it's from what I do see of their deck, I do typically see that as being the 3 axis one.
Okay. Well, shall we partake in watching you punch him in the face?
Yes.
Okay. We're waiting. So you lost the rock, paper, scissors, huh?
Yeah, I typically always go with scissors.
Well, now you gave away your secret. I know how to beat you every time for that now. Do you want to go first if you're playing your Fire Fist deck, or do you want to go second? Or does it even matter?
It doesn't really matter. Sometimes, depending on the hand, it does make a difference. But it doesn't really matter.
So, what was the point of...
When I summon dragons, do with dragon, I know I laid a fire formation. I have a high enough attack with mine. I can, when dragon goes off, when I activate, I get another fire formation trap. So I know they can't attack over. And I know at this point I don't know he's running Fire Fist.
But he just plays Fire Fist guy.
But when I first laid mine, I didn't know what he was playing. So I just laid my typical starting defense.
And your starting defense is a good offense, right?
Exactly.
If you watch any of his other decks, you will realize that he has a very strong theme of he likes to punch you in the face very hard. Multiple times, too. Like, I think if there's a card where it's like, he can give you a little more life points just to hit you again, he'd probably run it. Just because he's like, oh, I don't want him to die just yet. Alright, so, I can't really, look at him right now. What is...
gave up his leopard to get a fire formation, which he gets the one that lets him get a second Tensu.
So it's a double summon?
So he gets a second summon, which then he brings boar. Or not boar, I think it's buffalo or rhino. I'm not sure which. I think it's buffalo.
Now, do you normally take that long so you don't know if you should activate your bottomless, or you just...
I was debating on that, whether to activate bottomless. I couldn't remember what his effect was, and his effect lets him... That can be special summoned by giving up 2 fire formations, which, at a key point, that could really hurt.
Alright, I'm going to stop it right here for just a second. This Spirit of the Flames guy that just came out, why would he run that?
That is part of a 3-axis. That makes it the 3-axis. Because then he's putting a fire monster. He can gain 300, which puts him at a 2,000 attacker. And it's an extra special summon, and it's a 4-star monster. So he can get that extra summon. He can technically get 3 4-star monsters in one turn with him, because he can banish. And when he's running Leopard, it lets them... They pretty much always pitch Leopard. It's just summon, get rid of him, get your fire formation.
So what we're saying is everybody hates leopards.
It's just...
Would you ever run that card? Or is it just, it will totally mess up your deck if you put it in there?
When they had Spirit at 2 and 3, yes, I ran it. Because it worked very well when you could have that many Spirits to have him. Because Spirit lets you bring a level 3 monster back from your grave, which gives you a quick 6-star synchro.
And what is it? And you'd still get a search, or does the Spirit negate the effect? So
no, the search, you have to tribute him off. So essentially, you tribute him off, you get your double summon, and then you bring Spirit, bring him back, and then you get your Horse Prince, which your Horse Prince then lets you bring a level 3 from your deck, which then typically you would bring Rooster, which would then, when Rooster special summoned by a Fire Fist monster, it allows you to bring a Fire Fist monster from your deck to your hand.
For those of you that don't know, I know absolutely nothing about Fire Fist. So if you're as confused about all this as I am, don't feel bad. But he's been working on this deck since the first cards came out for it back in... What was the pack came out in? Burning something, or I don't know. It has nothing to do with fire.
Blazing Cosmos Blazer.
Yeah, he was like putting it together back then. So he's, from that point, this has been like, I'm going to make this deck a beast. So he knows the ins and outs of it like no other. It's like he's a male gigolo with the fire fists. So unfortunately, if you want to duel him with your Fire Fist deck, 9 times out of 10 you'll probably lose, and you're gonna see why here in like a minute or two. Just because you just have answers for days. I remember I was watching this, like the first match, I was like, first duel, my first reaction was, oh, he did that, and he did that, and he did that, and then he does this.
I run Mirror Force, 2 Mirror Forces. I also run the Trap Fire Formation.
It seemed like in both duels, like there was at one point I had some fear for you, because you were kind of top decking for a little while, and you had a pretty decent field presence going on there. But it just felt like every time you would do something, you're just like, no, huh, you're adorable, but no. And then you do stuff like this, where it's just, what is that, Gorilla, or is that
Yes,
Bear?
that is Gorilla. Which, Bear would have been better at this point if I could have got him, because Gorilla has to destroy a monster to get a fire formation. Bear just has to inflict life point damage. And both of them only let you get a spell. And the point of overlaying here for Tiger King is he is high enough attack that most other Fire Fist monsters that he's going to summon and other stuff he's going to do, he's not going to get over mine. He's not going to be able to get over my attack now.
And what's so special about Tiger King?
People like him for two reasons. One, when he's summoned, you get a fire formation, whether it's a spell or trap. And two, when you remove one from it, you can then negate all their cards' effects except Beast Warriors. Beast Warriors are the only one that get card effects. Only monsters that'll get a card effect that are on the field.
So, playing it against Fire Fist is not a huge advantage?
It's just basically the attack and getting the fire. It's not going to negate his monsters.
It's an extra search, is what
it is. It's just going for the search at that point.
Which I've noticed, like, over the last year or so, since, like, this deck came out, you've seen a lot more, like, heavy searcher decks. Because after this, like, didn't, like, E-Dragons came out, and now it's all about searching. And then you had Spellbooks, and that's all about searching. And then you had Noble Knights, which still aren't huge yet, but they get a lot of searches. Burning Abyss that's out now, they have a lot of searches. Shadows, they have a lot of searches. Mermails. Like, every top deck for the last year is just because it's search. And I don't like that, actually. It's just, I understand the consistency to it. I do. But when all you do is sit there and you search out cards, you just...
It's like that. I just searched again because I used my Fire Formation trap to do extra damage, and I use Rooster's effect to give up my trap to bring out Tenkai to bring another monster to my hand. It kind of keeps my monster field going, as well as keeping me a Fire Formation, because a lot of my cards need it for ammo.
You know, he just searched out Wolfbark. Do you run any of those guys? Or?
Yes, you can only. They unfortunately limited him to one, and this is why he pulls off a very, very good move right here with Wolfbark. It's why he's really good. Is you get to bring a level 4, which, as everybody knows, level 4s right now are just ridiculous in their power, and a lot of your rank 4 monsters.
Side note: there's over 103 rank 4 overlays currently. Sorry, go ahead.
And here, if I remember right, he goes for Honor Arc, which he takes my...
That damn Honor Arc, man. Every time, like, you're like, I got this. And then just, they pull out the Honor Arc, and you just feel bad. You feel sad about that. Like, this is where I think I started getting a little worried when I was watching it, because you have one card in your hand, I think it was like 2 turns before you really did anything, and then you're just kind of like, oh, now I'm going to punch you in the face again.
I needed that double summon. I needed a way to get a double summon off to negate his effect and do something. Currently at the point, I didn't have much. I think if I'm right, I have Gorilla in my hand. And it just was nothing I could do. I couldn't get over him. And even if I could, he could just, if I got over him for one turn, he still has the effect to just remove my card to keep him there.
Now, most fire, like, I know a lot of decks, when you get in the position you're in now, where you're top decking, like, you're pretty much dead at this point, like, in most decks. How often do you come across this with Fire Fist decks, and are you really able to actually play out of this? Like,
yes.
Legitly, like, consistent basis?
Yes, there's so many ways you can play out that I have one Fire Formation on the field, which is the biggest plus. Because then, if it's trap, hold me up, I can do that. Or I draw the perfect card like I did there, which is very rare. And it lets me bring back, for a complete ammo filled, is what this is going to do.
Oh, this is where you synchroed for the
Horse Prince.
Was it Horse Prince? It was
I synchro summoned for Volcanus.
Which I had never seen.
Volcana.
And I was kind of like, at this point, I was kind of like spacing off a little bit, because I was like, well, he's not going to be able to play his way out of this one. It's impossible. He's got freaking Honor Arc and he's top decking.
No, because what happened is when I bring Spirit, it lets me bring Rooster. When I get Rooster, it lets me bring Fire Fist to my hand, and then I use Rooster's other effect, give up a fire formation to bring another one. So I give up Tenkai to bring out Tensu, which gives me the second summon, which lets me bring Gorilla, which then I give up that to kill his face down, to stop any negates anything towards me. So, like there, he would have been able to lower my attack. And with his lance, I took out Lance. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, what can I do? Can I just take care of one and gonna have to wait another turn? And I was looking through my extra deck at this point, thinking what were my options. And then, because I rarely use this card, and
bam. This blew my mind right here. I stopped while I was watching this duel, and I was like, did that just happen? What is this?
I can't, what is his name? Vulcan the Divine.
Yeah, I had to stop and read it. I'm like, what? Why are not more people playing this right now?
It's the one card I'm missing. I actually have this deck. It is the one card I am missing to complete this deck.
So, you're currently citing for your second match. What did you change out?
I didn't change anything.
You didn't change anything. 'Cause it took you a while to get back to the duel.
I think I might have added a Spell Shattering Arrow.
Is that like the only thing you would ever have to side in against the Fire Fist deck?
Yes, that's about the only thing there is for me to side in. Maybe if I felt like it, I could really do Effect Veilers.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Just on that.
With Effect Veilers, again, it stops a lot of their plays against me. I can stop like that. I would have been able to stop him from using Honor Arc against me. I can stop him from getting his effect of summoning Tiger King or stop other stuff. But I was more thinking if I stop his fire formations, he won't get his second summon. And that's going to be my biggest threat in the way they run their deck. Their second summoning is like the whole key to their deck. And they'll lose their whole first turn most of the time off of doing Leopard summoning to get the other fire formation. And if you instantly kill it, your next turn you're going to get a free hit on them basically. Because they did their one summon and you're taking out their second summon by destroying their fire formation. They have no other option at that point.
I remember as I was watching this duel, it doesn't last very long. So unfortunately, if you're waiting for like a long, drawn-out duel, you're not going to get it. And as I'm watching this every turn, I'm just like, holy shit. Holy shit. Like every turn, it was a new holy shit moment. And it was kind of astonishing to like a degree of, I felt bad for the other guy. Because it was like nothing, no matter what he did, it was just like, no. And I understand because I've been on the receiving end of this.
See, he went Leopard. And he brought his double summoning. And I believe I have Spell Shattering Arrow down there. So I automatically hit that to stop him.
And deal damage to him too.
That's why I side that card. There's a lot of decks that rely on a lot of continuous or field spells and stuff like that. And I really like being able to do that.
Do you just side into one, or do you have a whole playset that goes on?
I have a whole playset. I didn't side all of them, and I think I only sided 2. I take out my Night Beams for them.
And the odds of you drawing it first turn, starting the match, that's ridiculous. You say you're always so unlucky. That's luck right there.
Oh, this was the first game in a while. This deck is, of all the decks I've built, that I usually don't have this great of luck. And this deck, for some odd reason, has really been very lucky for me. A lot of times it does give me the cards I need. Other decks, I will get the worst draw possible.
Well, like the one thing I've always stated about Fire Fist decks, and it's like, even like the worst Fire Fist decks, always have fantastic consistency because like everything searches out everything else, pretty much. Because the fire formations can search out the monsters, and the monsters can search out the fire formations, and that's all you really need to run the deck. Everything else is just tech to put some flair to it. But I've never seen you set a monster with your Fire Fist deck unless you're top decking and you just need a stall for time. What'd you set there?
Boar.
Why?
Well, if he's destroyed by battle, and that was first turn I set him, if he's destroyed by battle, I get to get a Fire Fist monster. I can special summon it to my side of the field. But he is also a 4-star tuner, which in most other decks he lets me go for my Crimson Blader, which stops him from going for a level 5 or higher monster consistently. I can stop that summoning by destroying one of their monsters with him.
Do you run 10 Ken? I don't know what that does.
It negate during main phase 1, it'll negate your monster's effect, but it'll stop it during main phase from being affected by any other card effect.
Just for the main phase, or
just for main phase 1. But then
I don't understand playing that card then. Like,
but then it gives all Beast Warriors 300 attack.
And yeah, turn 4, he just realized, well, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, so I'm just gonna bail out of here.
The only trap I run is the Fire Formation Tinsu.
Yeah, the one where it's like you get 700 and then you add another 300 on top of that.
It gives them 300, and then the one you pick gets 700, and it works good for your plus beater. It gives almost any of the Fire Fist monsters that 1,000 more attack, which most people can't get over at most monsters.
So clearly, at least in this mirror match, you, for a lack of a better term, skull fucked him.
It's kind of unfair in most sense because I didn't just build this deck. Most decks, I'll just build the deck, kind of look at the cards and build the deck. This one I did not. I watched several people building the deck. I watched the consensus before they actually came out on, I think we were on Dueling Network at that point.
Oh, so prehistoric.
And was watching people's decks on that, how they were running it when it actually came out, because I couldn't afford some of the cards. They were ridiculously priced.
Like Bear.
And which I did end up paying higher price at the time. I paid $30 a piece for the bears I have, and still even at the time they were going for $60.
Just ridiculous. Ridiculous right there.
And I had my deck going for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then the next pack came out that had, I believe it was Judgment of Light or something like that, that had Rooster in it. It had Rooster and I believe Wolfbark in there. And everybody else was all concerned because Rooster, they were saying Rooster was going to be limited to 1. And I had no problems with this. Everybody was complaining about Rooster being limited to 1. Rooster being limited to 1 does not hurt near as much as Spirit being limited to 1. Now, Spirit is the level 3 tuner that lets you, when you summon it, you get to bring a level 3 from your grave.
So you can just keep bringing that Rooster back.
And if you get 3 spirits, you can keep, once you get Rooster to the grave, you have that engine right there every time you get a spirit.
Forget that. No.
And That's why I didn't understand everybody being upset at Rooster being limited to 1. I'm like, go ahead, limit Rooster to 1.
Well, at the time, they were also going off the OCG ban list, whereas Rooster is going down to 1, and like Tenzin or what, 10 key?
10 key went down to 2.
But as we finish this up, anything else you want to say to him before we go? No.
Nope.
Final words of wisdom from the great, powerful Brent?
Just the only thing I can say is research your deck. If you're going to do a deck, know what it can and can't do. And do remember, I'm a superstitious person, so look for a deck that works with you. Just because you like a set name or a set archetype doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Harpies! Sorry, did I say that loud? Alright, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Brent, for letting me watch you beat the crap out of the guy. And till next time, stay happy.